Okay, so you know how sometimes you'll hear a word in English and think, oh, that's a good one, I should try and use that more.
Absolutely. It's like you suddenly recognize its potential to add something to your vocabulary.
Right, well, for this deep dive, you actually sent in a perfect example. It's a YouTube transcript. And the video is called, If You Know These 15 Words, Make Your English Excellent. It's from Easy English Talk, hosted by Jason and Julia.
Oh, I've seen their videos. They're great at breaking things down in a way that's super accessible.
Yeah, and so what we want to do is take those 15 words they talk about and really dig into them. Like not just here's the word and here's the definition, but more like, okay, why are these considered powerful words? And how can understanding them help you sound more fluent and more confident in English?
It's about giving you that shortcut to understanding why they matter so you can focus on actually using them and sounding more natural.
Exactly. So let's jump right in. Jason and Julia kick things off by basically saying that vocabulary is hugely important for fluency, maybe even more so than having perfect grammar.
And I think that makes sense if you think about it. Like, you can know all the grammar rules, but if you don't have the words to express your thoughts, you're kind of stuck, right?
Totally. And they even say that a limited vocabulary can make you feel frustrated and less confident when you speak.
Yeah. And for the listener, imagine trying to have a really interesting conversation, but you just don't have the words to fully articulate your thoughts. It can be so frustrating.
Absolutely. And on the flip side, having a wider range of vocabulary allows you to be more precise, more nuanced, basically, more like a native speaker.
You know, it's like an artist having a full palette of colors to paint with, rather than just a few basic shades.
I love that analogy. So the words Jason and Julia focus on are grouped into 3 categories. They have versatile words, smart words, and polite and professional words.
It's a really clever way to organize them because it goes beyond just their dictionary definition. It's about how these words function in different contexts.
Okay, so let's start with the versatile words. The first one is actually, which they say is used for correcting something gently or adding detail.
Yeah, like, I thought the meeting was at 10, but actually it's at 11.
Right, or actually I don't like coffee very much.
And it's interesting because actually softens things a bit. It's not as abrupt as saying, no, you're wrong. It's more like, oh, here's a slight adjustment or clarification.
I can see how that would make you sound more natural and less like you're, lecturing someone.
Definitely. And for the listener, think about how you can use actually to add those subtle nuances to your conversations. It can make a huge difference.
Okay, next up is absolutely, which they describe as a really strong way to agree with someone.
Yeah, like saying yes, but with way more enthusiasm. Like, do you want to go out tonight? Absolutely, let's do it.
Or for giving really strong positive feedback, like, that presentation was absolutely amazing.
Exactly, and it conveys that sense of certainty and confidence, which is really important when you want to make a good impression.
It's like you're saying, I am 100% on board with this, or I am truly impressed by this.
And I think for someone who's maybe a bit shy or hesitant to speak up, using absolutely can be a really good way to push yourself to sound more assertive.
That's a great point. Okay, now we have definitely, another word that emphasizes certainty.
Definitely is like that rock-solid confirmation. No doubts, no hesitation.
So their example is, will you be at the party? Definitely, I wouldn't miss it.
And I think that's a really good example because it shows how definitely can convey your commitment to something. Like you're saying, I have made up my mind and I'm sticking to it.
It removes any ambiguity, which can be really helpful in lots of situations.
And for the listener, I think it's about recognizing the subtle power of words. Like, definitely. It's not just saying yes, it's adding that extra layer of assurance.
All right, the next word is literally, and I think a lot of people might have strong feelings about this one.
Oh, I know, right? Literally has become kind of a controversial word, hasn't it?
Yeah. Like Jason and Julia say it's for strong emphasis or exaggeration.
So you might say, I was literally starving after that workout, even though you probably weren't actually out to faint from hunger.
Right. Or like, that movie was literally the funniest thing I've ever seen.
And I think the reason it's become controversial is that people overuse it and it loses its impact.
Exactly. Like if everything is literally the best or the worst, then the word doesn't really mean anything anymore.
So I think the key takeaway here is that literally can be a powerful tool for emphasis, but you have to use it sparingly.
Like save it for those situations where you really want to drive home a point.
And I think it's also worth noting that literally can be used in its true sense to mean something is actually happening.
Right, like the cat is literally sitting on the keyboard right now.
Exactly. So Understanding both its literal and figurative uses is key to using it effectively.
Okay, the last of the versatile words is obviously, which they say is used when something is so clear it shouldn't need explanation.
Like, obviously, I forgot my keys at home.
But they also caution against using it too much because it can sound rude.
Yeah, because it can come across as condescending, like you're assuming the other person is stupid for not already knowing something.
And even if that's not your intention, it can still create that impression. So it's definitely a word to be mindful of.
Like, think about your audience and the context. Is it really obvious to everyone involved? If not, maybe rephrase it.
All right, moving on to the smart words. First up is essential, meaning something is really important or absolutely necessary.
So their examples are, it's essential to get enough sleep if you want to stay healthy, and essential information.
And I think what makes this a smart word is that it conveys a sense of thoughtfulness and careful consideration.
You're not just saying something is important, you're saying it's absolutely crucial, it's fundamental.
Right, it's like you've weighed all the factors and this thing stands out as the most vital.
And that can really elevate your communication, make you sound more authoritative and knowledgeable.
Okay, next is priority, which they define as something that needs immediate attention because it's so important.
So you might say, finishing this project is my top priority right now, or my family is always my priority.
And I think using priority shows that you're organized and focused.
Absolutely. It demonstrates that you're able to assess what's truly important and allocate your time and energy accordingly.
Which is a really valuable skill in any area of life, whether it's work, personal relationships, or just managing your own time.
It signals that you're not just reacting to things randomly, you're being strategic and intentional with your actions.
Okay, then we have opportunity, which they describe as a good chance to do something.
Their example is, I got an opportunity to travel to Japan last year.
And they point out that it's a bit more formal than just saying chance.
Yeah. I think opportunity suggests something more significant, more potentially beneficial.
Like it has a sense of positive potential, maybe even a bit of excitement.
Whereas chance can be more neutral, like, there's a chance of rain today.
So opportunity might be more appropriate for things like career advancements, personal growth experiences, things like that.
Exactly. It highlights the potential for positive change or development.
Concern is next, and that's used when you're talking about something that might be worrying you or something that's important to you.
So their examples are, I have some concerns about the new project, and I'm not concerned about the meeting. I'm prepared.
And they say it sounds more thoughtful and serious than just saying worry.
I think worry can sound more emotional, more personal, maybe even a bit frantic.
Whereas concern is more measured, more rational.
Like, you've thought about something carefully, and these are your considered reservations or points of attention.
Right. You're not just freaking out, you're expressing a legitimate concern based on some kind of reasoning or evidence.
Exactly. So again, it comes back to that idea of sounding more professional and in control.
Okay, last one for the smart words is efficient, which means doing something well without wasting time or resources.
Their examples are, she's very efficient at organizing events, and we need a more efficient way to do this.
And they highlight that it's often used in business situations or more formal contexts.
I think efficient is a word that really resonates in today's world where everyone is so busy and time is so precious.
It speaks to that idea of maximizing productivity, getting the most out of every minute.
Right. And it shows that you're not just focused on getting things done, you're focused on doing them well and doing them in a way that makes the best use of everyone's time and energy.
Okay, let's move on to the last category, polite and professional words. And the first one is appreciate, which is used to express gratitude in a more formal and respectful way.
So instead of just saying thanks, you might say, I appreciate your help with this project.
And they emphasize that sincerity is really important when you use this word.
Absolutely. Because appreciate goes beyond a simple thank you. It conveys a deeper sense of gratitude and acknowledges the value of what the other person has done.
It shows that you genuinely recognize and value their effort or contribution.
And I think when you use appreciate sincerely, it can really strengthen relationships and build trust.
Next up is apologize, which is a more formal way of saying sorry.
So their example is, I want to apologize for being late to the meeting.
And they point out that it shows politeness and that you're taking responsibility for something.
Apologize carries more weight than a casual sorry. It demonstrates that you understand the impact of your actions and that you're willing to acknowledge your mistake.
It's like you're saying, I understand that this was wrong and I'm taking ownership of it.
And that can go a long way in diffusing a tense situation or repairing a damaged relationship.
Okay, clarify is next, and it means to make something clearer or easier to understand.
Their example is, could you clarify what you meant by that?
And they highlight that it's polite, professional, and really useful for making sure you understand things correctly.
I think clarify is so important for effective communication. It allows you to ask for more information or a better explanation without sounding accusatory or confrontational.
Right, like you're not explaining this well. You're saying, I want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly.
And that can prevent misunderstandings and ensure that everyone is on the same page.
Okay, then we have recommend, which is a polite way to suggest something to someone.
Their example is, I recommend you try the new restaurant downtown.
And they say it sounds professional and friendly at the same time.
I think recommend is a great alternative to saying you should or you have to.
Yeah, because those can sound a bit pushy or bossy.
Whereas recommend is more of a gentle suggestion. It's like you're sharing your opinion or experience in a way that's helpful and respectful.
It's like, I've tried this and I think you might like it too.
Right. And it leaves the decision ultimately up to the other person.
The final word on their list is participate, which means to take part in something.
Their example is, I want to participate in the upcoming community event.
And they mention that it sounds more active and engaging than just saying join.
Yeah. Join can be quite passive, like you're just becoming a member of something.
Whereas participate implies that you're going to be actively involved, you're going to contribute something.
Exactly. It shows that you're not just a bystander, you're an active participant.
So you've heard all 15 words now, grouped into these 3 categories. For you listening right now, which of these stands out as something you could start using more often, or in a slightly different way?
I know Jason really likes to use actually for adding those extra details and clarifying things.
And Julia's favorite is definitely for showing that she's totally sure about something.
For me, what's really interesting is how each category targets a different aspect of communication.
Like actually adds nuance. Definitely and absolutely project confidence, essential and concern, show thoughtfulness and appreciate and clarify, maintain that politeness and professionalism.
And I think if you're trying to improve your spoken English, consciously choosing 1 or 2 words from each category to focus on can make a huge difference.
It's about understanding not just the definition, but the subtle ways these words can impact how you come across to others.
And how you feel about yourself when you're speaking.
And Jason and Julia offer some really good advice for how to make these words a natural part of your vocabulary.
They say you should try to use them in real conversations. Pay attention to how other people use them in podcasts and movies. Write sentences with them. Even set a reminder on your phone to use 1 new word each day.
So think about which of those strategies would work best for you. What could you start doing today to make these words more automatic?
I think the key is consistency. If you make a conscious effort to use these words regularly, they'll eventually become second nature.
Yeah, it's like any skill, the more you practice, the easier it gets.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that these 15 words are so much more than just vocabulary. They're tools that can really help you unlock greater fluency and confidence in your English.
If we zoom out and look at the bigger picture here, mastering these seemingly small vocabulary changes can actually have a big impact on how others perceive your language skills.
And how you feel about yourself as an English speaker.
And here's something to consider as you go about your week. How might incorporating even 1 or 2 of these words into your daily conversations change how others understand you and how you feel about expressing yourself in English?
What other subtle shifts in your vocabulary could be waiting to unlock even more confidence and clarity in your communication?
It's amazing to think about, right? And that's what makes language learning so fascinating.
It's a constant journey of discovery.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.